Hey, what is up everyone? My name is FBA Jeffrey. In this video, I wanted to talk about common questions before starting Amazon FBA. So I figured that this video would be very impactful and it'll have a lot of value as I realized there are some specific questions that I hear a lot, and I figured why not make a YouTube video just to answer all of that. And if for whatever reason you still have any other questions, feel free to follow me on Instagram, send me a DM. I'm very active on there, so I try to get back to you as soon as possible. But before we do get started, you might be asking, who am I, right? Why am I qualified to answer these questions? So let me just pull up my Amazon app. Let me just give it a little refresh just so you know it's not a screenshot. So over the last 30 days, I have sold just over $600,000 in sales. So I like to believe I am qualified to answer these questions. So yeah, let's get right into it. So the very first question is, how long will it take to see success? And I just wanted to give a note before I answer this, that there isn't a black and white right or wrong answer. A lot of these questions, or the answer to these questions, is just my personal opinion and what I personally believe when it comes to selling on the Amazon marketplace. But how long will it take to see success? You can literally make a profit within your first month. That is something that is very, very common. Many people do it. Most of my students see profit within the first month. And frankly speaking, you can get to 10K profit in 4 months or less. That I know for a fact because I have helped countless people, countless students get to that point in 4 months or less, right? Just to go from 0 to 10K a month profit, it's just about learning the foundations. So that is learning the softwares. That is very important. Learning how to find distributors and expanding your catalog. Those are the foundations. So here are just some of the results that I've generated for students. They're all doing very, very well. They all came into the program. They started at 0. We got them set up. We taught them the foundations, the fundamentals. And this is like the typical results that I like to see, right? You could very well be on my next YouTube video where I'm showing them, your results. So the next question is, how many softwares do you need? With this question, personally, when starting off, you only need 3 softwares. So first is AZ Insight or Seller Amp. That is just the sourcing tool, just sourcing calculator. So you see the profit. The next is Keepa, which you see historical data that you also need. And the third software would be Sellerboard, right? Which is just your accounting software. It shows your profit and loss. Just those 3, AZ Insight, Keepa, and Sellerboard, that will get you very, very far. And all things considered, they're not expensive. So I do recommend just starting off with those 3 if you want to save some money. If you're feeling like you want to spend a little bit more, then the next software that I would recommend is Smart Scout. That software changed the game for me, but it's not required. As you learn the ropes on Amazon, as you get more experience, as you get more confidence, you get proof of concept that Amazon, the business model does work, and it works very well, then you can start to experiment with different softwares. But those 3, it's a must-have. You need that in like any Amazon business or any successful, profitable Amazon business. They're definitely using those 3 softwares. The next question that I get asked a lot would be, what tasks can be automated? Basically, like 95% of everything that you do on a day-to-day basis can be outsourced, which is amazing because Amazon, the model itself, there isn't a lot of moving parts. You don't have to spend money on advertisements, on running ads. You don't need sales, marketing. You don't need anything like that. It's not very complex. There isn't a lot of moving parts. You only need to focus on doing 4 things to grow your Amazon store and make profit. And that is finding distributors, outreaching to them, expanding your catalog, and prepping, right? So those 4 things can literally be outsourced. So for me, I personally only spend between, I'd say, anywhere from 3 to 5 hours a week. From that 3 to 5 hours, I spend like 3 hours of it on Mondays because I'm just going through my catalog, making sure I'm profitable, making sure my Amazon account is in good standing, like that type of stuff. That stuff you can't automate, but hey, I'll take it. I'm doing 600K a month, working 3 to 5 hours a week. Sounds pretty good. Going back to that point with, finding distributors, with outreach, and expanding catalog, all of that can be done by hiring virtual assistants. So you could hire employees from the Philippines. For me, I hired from Pakistan. You pay them anywhere from $3 to $5. You train them up with a bunch of like SOPs on how you would operate your business, because these tasks don't require problem solving, so they're very easy to replicate. Okay, so you can just hire virtual assistants. I currently have 2 virtual assistants. Once you have the strategy, once you know what you're doing, basically, you could teach them all of that. Very, very straightforward, very easy process. And then outreaching, even easier, right? There's softwares that I utilize in my business where I send hundreds of emails in a day. It automatically follows up with the distributors, everything like that. You don't even have to manually send emails. Obviously, when you first start off, it's good to learn it, but that's just something that you can automate. And the last would be just prepping items. So I know that's like the next question, but you can outsource prepping, right? For me, I went the route of renting a warehouse. I have 3 employees, like 3 warehouse employees, where they prep items for me. So they receive all my items, they prep it, and they send it out to Amazon for me. I can't even remember the last time I touched an item, which is amazing. I'm always just here making YouTube videos on social media, shopping, doing things that I want to do. I don't actually prep the items myself, which is amazing, right? So you can certainly do that. That's something that I also recommend outsourcing when you can, when it makes sense. The other option is to go with a prep center. So I'm going to answer more in depth on this in the next question. So with this question is prep center or in-house? This is a very common question, and I know it applies to specific people. So say, for example, when you first get products, right, there's 2 options to send it into Amazon. The first is you send the products to your house and you prep it and you send it out. So you drop it at a UPS location, which will ship it to the Amazon fulfillment center. That's the first option that you could take. Or the second option is you work with a prep center, ideally in a tax-free state. So when you buy stuff, you don't get taxed. And then you just pay them like a fee of 50 cents to $1 a unit, and they take care of literally everything for you. And I could go really in depth on this video, and I'll likely make a whole separate YouTube video on this, but those are the 2 options that you want to take when it comes to prepping items. So for me personally, I rented a warehouse. At a lower scale, you could rent like a storage unit or whatnot. Like you could start from your house, and as you scale, you could get like a storage unit, and as you scale even more, you could go into the warehouse route. That's not a bad option, because at the end of the day, you have control over the whole chain, like the whole business, like day-to-day operations, which is amazing. But it requires a lot of time, a lot of efficiency, making sure that the employees that you're paying, like when you automate, like when you train these employees, you're training them well. They're not wasting resources. They're not wasting your time and whatnot. The upside is very high with this. So I went down that route. But for some of you, say you live in like New York City or something, you live in a very condensed city where you live in an apartment. It's just, you're not capable of receiving and shipping out items from your own home. I strongly recommend going the option of a prep center. So basically you pay them a fee, like I said, 50 cents to $1, depending on how big the item is. And they manage everything, like, receiving, prepping. Like, it's pretty good in the sense where it's automated. You just basically pay a fee, which is like, at the end of the day, it's opportunity cost, because when you're in-house doing everything yourself, you want to see it as opportunity cost, where instead of spending 2 hours prepping, you can spend that 2 hours looking for more items or making decisions to grow your business, right? So you want to automate that as soon as possible. But both options are great. I personally do recommend, if I had to get started again, so I personally would just go down the prep center route. It's really worth it. I know a lot of my friends in the States, they're selling hundreds of thousands of dollars. Some of them are even selling in the millions. A lot of them have prep centers. I strongly recommend those 2 options, but both works. There's pros and cons for both. You just really have to evaluate it. In my program, I do a very deep dive on both options. And if you choose the prep center route, I have a bunch of prep centers that I am in communication with, that I know the owners. I can connect you guys. Next question is, how much money do I need to start? Amazon wholesale, there is a big misconception with Amazon where you need a lot of money. And in reality, the model itself requires using your own money to make more money. You're not exactly creating money out of thin air. You can make money instantly, and there's no moving parts. You're literally just using your money to make more money, right? But how much money do you need to start? With Amazon wholesale, it's always better to have more money sitting on the sidelines, $3,000 or more in available cash. I think that's a great option to start. But nonetheless, the most important part is having a job. My students, the ones that are working a steady job, they have a high success rate. Just because, like I'm not telling you to quit your job or like just go all in on Amazon. You don't have to do that. You could literally do Amazon on the side. And as you start making money, you reach that 10K profit point, you could do that in 3 to 4 months. Now you have more flexibility to consider other options. A good point, like a good amount of money that you do need is, I'd say $3,000 and a steady job. A steady job is very important. The next question that I also get a lot is, can I work on Amazon while working full time? And I'd say I can really give a really good answer to this, because 2 years ago, I was working at a bank. I went in person literally Monday to Friday. So I live in Toronto. I'm in the suburbs. So it takes me like 40 minutes train to get into downtown. So I also commuted for like 40 minutes just to get there and 40 minutes back. And I was able to grow my Amazon store to get it to 10K profit by the 3rd month, 20K profit by the 4th month. So yes, you can do this full time. You can definitely do this on the side. Remember, I'm not telling you to quit your job and go all in. Do not do that. If you want to, I mean, you can, but I strongly recommend not doing that. You can start doing Amazon. You could commit, as long as you commit like an hour, hour and a half every single day, for the most part, you will make meaningful progress. Just show up every single day, do it in little increments, and eventually you will begin to make profits, ideally in your first month. And then by your 3rd month, you'll be making thousands of dollars in pure profit. And like I said, now you can evaluate your options, see whether or not you want to continue working your job and have this as additional income, or just go all in and start scaling your business. But yes, you can do this full time. The next question that I get a lot is, can Amazon FBA replace my job? Like I said, I guess that goes back to the previous question. I am biased, but I mean, Amazon did replace my job. I do Amazon full time now, which is one of the best things that I could ever have wished for. But yes, it's very possible. Amazon, like with this business model, is very flexible in the sense where if you want this as just a side hustle, something that could give you an extra 5 to 10K, maybe even 15K a month profit while working your job, then yes, you could do that. You could automate. You can only spend maybe like 3 to 5 hours a week. That's amazing, right? And make 10K a month. Yeah, I'd take that any day. So you could do that. That's one of the options. Or at the point where you're making 10 to 15K a month profit, you can have the flexibility to consider, maybe I do want to quit my job, go all in and grow my business. Because I'm telling you, going from 0 to 10K a month profit on Amazon, it's just learning the foundations and just getting experience selling on Amazon. So going into this aspect where I did some more reflecting and I started asking, what would I have done differently if I was to start Amazon over again 2 years ago? And the first thing would be less self-doubt. So and I wasn't always like someone who's super confident in everything that I did. I know when I first started, I was coming off dropshipping, which was another business model that I did. I didn't lose money, but I didn't make money. I wouldn't call it successful, right? And I wasn't sure if I had what it took to make money. Like I was seeing online all these people making thousands of dollars a day, and I thought they had something special in them. I thought they were like smart, or they just was doing something different. But now looking back at it, there's literally nothing different. Like I'm still the same person. The only thing was I just started, I put my head down, I filtered out all the noise. Every time that inner voice was telling me I can't do it, I just ignored it. I just did what I thought was correct. Or what I thought would make me progress, would make me more money. And 2 years passed. Now I'm doing 600K a month. Obviously, a lot of things happened in between that. But I'd say looking back, I would just tell myself to doubt myself less. Just have more confidence. Just tell myself, I got this, right? Just put your head down, put one foot in front of the other, and just get to work. Just get a direction. Just do what you think is right. Especially if you're going to work with someone and you get guidance, you already have a clear direction on what you need to do to start and grow your Amazon store. You should be confident in everything that you need to do, especially when you have the knowledge, you have the strategies, everything. Now it's just a matter of sitting in front of your computer and applying that knowledge. The next thing, looking back, would be to seek for guidance. So this is something that I can also touch upon, because when I first started, I thought I could do it myself. I was so wrong in the sense where I was just grinding the YouTube videos, trying to find different values and apply it into my Amazon business. And that's amazing, right? That works very well. But then the issue that I ran into was there's so many YouTube videos on different softwares that you need on Amazon. Like you have a YouTuber telling you you need 3 softwares, another person telling you need 4, another person telling you need 5, and you don't really know what is right and wrong. And the only way you could find out if that information is correct or not is to apply it. But that takes time. Sometimes you will make costly mistakes, and before you know it, you're just wasting time and money. My take on this, on seeking guidance, is yes, it could be very costly. It is expensive potentially to seek for guidance, to work with someone. But at the end of the day, say you don't invest in guidance, right? And you try to do it yourself, you're going to make mistakes, very costly mistakes, where you could potentially just end up wasting couple $100 or a couple $1,000, and you're going to waste time. The last thing that I should have done was start sooner. And obviously this is like my dilemma, because starting Amazon was single-handedly the best decision that I've ever made in my life. It changed my life in ways that I could never have imagined. But, you know, sometimes I do think, what if I started earlier? I've been selling on Amazon for just over 2 years now, but imagine if I've been selling for 3 years or 4 years or 5 years. How much money would I be making? I would be definitely doing well over 600K a month, maybe even in the millions a month. But obviously that's like the dilemma. Try not to dwell too much on the past, because what's in the past already happened. The only thing I could do is focus on the future, as in just figuring out and just plan on making more money, especially on Amazon. But yeah, no, like, to be honest with you, I do wish I started sooner, because I would have made more money. But all things considered, that's something that's in the past. I can't change it. The only thing that I focus on, like I said, is just put my head down, put one foot in front of the other, and get to work to make more money. Hopefully these questions, or like the answers that I provided, they have a lot of value. They're very clear. They gave you better insight into Amazon FBA in general. If you have any questions, or you're interested in working with me, as having me as your mentor or guidance, feel free to book a call in the description below. Follow me on Instagram. You can send me a DM. I try to be very active, or as active as I can be. But yeah, if this video had a lot of value, I'd really appreciate if you leave a like, if you subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.